Welcome back to Build Great Products. My name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing digital products and helping startups with design and product. Today we're going to be looking at a product called Revid.ai, which claims to help you design viral videos in just minutes. It's being used by over 14,000 creators, including some top names on X. I want to do a design review of the product and pull out 3 things that you can learn and apply to your own products that you're building and designing, but also see what's good, what's bad, and whether this is something that you should be using. So let's get into the product. Okay, so here is Revid.ai. So the claim here is create viral videos in minutes. Turn your creative ideas into attention-grabbing TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube stories with just a few clicks. This is like capturing, I think, a moment, because short-form video is really where a lot of the focus for content creators is at the moment. And I think short-form video is where you start to get attention and traction to pull that kind of attention through to your long form content. So this is like a product that's really like tailored for right now, in terms of content. You can see on the right hand side here, there's these different examples. And one thing that I immediately thought of straight away when I came on here was like, oh, how cool would it be because I have a daughter, how cool would it be to almost like create a character kind of style influencer that was about teaching kids all these interesting like life lessons like through this cartoon character. So like that's one thing that I want to try and create here. Like, can I create a character and then create a bunch of different content off that kind of like tells a story but like helps to like teach kids things as well, so like sharing or whatever it might be. But also I think like, so this is for creators to create like viral content. I don't know, the other question that I have here as well is like, how does this tie into like me as a person who's actually visible in my content? Or if you do like talking head stuff like this, or if you're like you have a personal brand basically where you're kind of the face, how does that work with like you as the subject, and can you create content off the back of that, rather than just like, I think the risk with a lot of these tools is that you're creating this generic short form content that's really just tailored to grab attention and not really provide a lot of value, and also isn't particularly like branded towards anything. It's just like, oh, can I create some content that's gonna like capture some attention and get me some likes and stuff. It's like a very easy thing to sell, but it doesn't actually necessarily translate into like long-term value, especially if you're building a brand or building a product. So that will be really interesting to see. You've got like some people here from X and some other personal brands that people might know, using the product. Pretty standard like social proof element here. Like we can see a lot of people are using this and some big names are using this, so it makes me more likely to want to use it. We've got a bunch of stats here as well, which is something that's really can be really good to do on a landing page or marketing material, is just pull out stats around the product to kind of incentivize people to sign up. So we've already created like a lot of videos on here. The number of creators, how many creators reached a certain number of views. This is a really interesting one because I do think that context like matters a little bit. So like, it's good to show big numbers, like big numbers capture attention, on the marketing side of a product. But what is also really useful is to show quality numbers as well. So like, how many people have actually been successful with the content that they've generated from this product. So if you're thinking about how you market your own product or design a website for your own product, think about not just like what's the numbers I can show in terms of the proof, but also what's the success numbers that I can show to kind of build even more trust. You've got a bunch of examples of the content down here that you can create. It all looks pretty kind of AI-ish. This middle one is interesting, actually. 100% generated, because it's like an educational video with graphics and stuff. Now there's some like issues around bias and accuracy for AI image and video generation stuff related to like historical contexts. So, but it could be interesting as like creating educational content. So like one thing, a startup idea or like a business idea off the back of this would be like, can I create a product or a startup around creating generated educational content for schools, universities, colleges, that sort of thing, because that is a really specific use case, and that is a product that can capture like SEO value from like searching for like educational AI video generator, that sort of thing. But also you can prove if there's traction on that very, very quickly, to say like, are people searching for this? Are people talking about it? There's a few different products you can look at. I feel like that could be like quite a good opportunity for building. And that's like one of the interesting things about these products, right, is that a lot of them open the door for like other interesting opportunities by using these as like the tool. So let's have a look. How do you actually do this? AI script generator. So you write or get a script automatically. I'm quite a big like storytelling nerd, so it will be interesting to see like how does this confine to like story structure, hero's journey, the 3-act structure, that sort of stuff. Can you create like a story around or a script around a specific story structure? 50 plus unique voices, so you choose like the narrator and then the video template. Super simple editor, and then you own that content as well. So that's one of the that's one thing that this is a small thing, but this is one thing that some AI tools are leaning a bit more into now, which is that ownership piece. And especially think that that's important if you're generating something which uses somebody's likeness or uses something, or uses somebody's voice, or something that somebody feels like they have ownership of, you need to make sure that they continue to have ownership of that. So if I'm doing like AI voiceover generator and it uses your voice, you need to be able to feel like you still own those files that have been generated. Like, I still own my voice, because that's an important part of making the product feel right and feel human. And ultimately, like, the way that something feels is going to be one thing that is a key to success for the long term for these products. So I've talked for a long time now. Let's actually get into creating some videos. So I'm going to sign up here, and then let's have a look at how we use this. Okay, so we're in the product. So here we go. So I want to approach this like a new user. So as if I don't know anything about viral video creation. How am I going to use this product, and how do I create stuff? How do I decide what I'm going to create? And maybe like I'm going to try and create those things that I kind of mentioned earlier. Or maybe if I have a slight idea of the sort of thing that I want to create, then let's see how it works. So the first thing we get here is set up your AI settings. One thing I would say for like this intro experience, the onboarding, is that this is quite like word heavy. So I wonder if we can make it a bit more visual by like maybe exposing the tags and then allowing you to select the hashtags, and maybe doing this in 2 steps, and also this second question here, tell us a few words about who you are and what you're into, is quite open-ended. One good thing, so if you're asking users an open-ended question like this, it's really good to give them an example of the format of which to provide the answer. So they've done that here with the placeholder, but I would say that open-ended questions generally create a bit more anxiety in users and are more difficult to complete. So unless this is really, really key to creating a video in this product, I might actually just like remove this question from here, and actually have that later. So maybe like when I'm when I've created like 1 or 2 videos, I might ask that a little bit more. Because I feel like this is more for Revid to understand their users than it is to personalize the content of the app. And this could be a blocker to continuing. I imagine like if people don't want to answer this, they'll just click close on here. I'm going to do a few things here. These are also, this is like a great, well, not great. This is like an example of bias from the people who created this tool. All of these are like startup or products or design or like marketing or business related for like the first 15 of these, and then you get culture, politics, science, health. I actually think their user base, this is an assumption, but my assumption would be that their user base is might initially skew like more towards like the startup, product, marketing kind of user, but over time, the more people start to use these kind of tools, that's going to broaden out massively. It's going to go into like travel and education, and actually maybe they're doing themselves a disservice by like putting all this stuff first. Because if I'm not someone who's into these things, I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like so designed for like tech people. Where's like the stuff that I want to create? Where's like science and food? Oh, okay, it's down the bottom. So this is for sure like biased towards this. It would be good to like reorder this maybe, like, or like do a little bit of research to find out like what sort of thing your users are going to be into. Again, it's like a very minor thing, but whatever. I'm going to add a few things in here: startup, tech, product design, and I'm also going to add in, let's put in culture. Cool, save. I can't save it without a description. So this is, I feel like this should be, let's make this optional, please, because like, if I've selected these and then I don't really want to write a few words about what I'm into, I'm going to do it anyway. Let's do it just to say like, tell us a few words about who you are. I am a design agency founder and content creator, and I like product, tech, and music and culture. Let's just say that. Save. All right. So we can say, here's some inspiration for your next TikTok video. Learn how to use Revid. Create your first script plus 10 free credits. Start creating. So I'm going to go in to create my first script because that's the first thing that I should be doing here. I will reference like a teardown that is going to come out next week, which is for a product called Pickle. What they do really well at this point in their product is they just purely focus the user on what is the next step, and that is this first bit at the top here. So one thing that you can do for your own products or when building and designing products is to just really focus the user on what they should be doing next and getting them to create that first thing. For Revid, if I'm Revid, I really want users to create at least one video, because if they create one video and then post one video, those two things are going to hugely increase the activation rate of users on the product. And so that's something that you can apply to product as well, is to say, when users first get into your product, we want to help them create something as quickly as possible that's valuable for them, and then do an action which is going to like unlock the rest of the product. So those things are going to be creating a video and then posting it to social. So let's help users who probably, the majority of users who come on here are going to be people who already have a social account, I imagine, in some capacity. So let's help users create something for them, for their social account, and then post it to their social account from Revid. That's going to be the key to activating and getting more paying users from a business point of view for Revid. So what I would do here to do that is, on that first pop-up when I came in, is to say, tell us tell us the first video that you want to create, and give users a few ideas. and let them tailor that to their social content, and then generate the script for them and get them into that video creation journey straight away without needing to see like their home screen or any of this stuff. So let's create a script. So this should be the first thing that I'm doing. Create a script. I want to create a so let's try and create that kids cartoon character, which is going to be educational content for kids. It should be a story for young children to learn about the importance of sharing and being nice to your friends. Just keep it really vague. Add media content. I don't know exactly what that is, so some help here would be useful. Add media content. I think we need a little bit more context here to say, like, add media content. You can add images and video, your own images and videos into your into the video that we generate if you already have existing content. And also just let me know that this is optional as I'm going through here as well. You could even like split this onto a separate step, maybe. Oh, this is going to generate the video script, so maybe it's useful to like have that content before it generates the script. Estimated duration 30 seconds. Cool, let's just do 30 seconds, see what it comes up with. Generate video scripts. One thing I do like here, so you said you saw that little message that popped up and disappeared like way too quickly in the bottom right, was that if I complete actions in the product, I get more credits on my account. So that's a really good way of incentivizing people to go through and do those first actions on a product. That a lot of other products use that as well, is that as users complete these actions, give them extra credits. You're basically just like saying, I'm going to give you free money the more stuff that you do in the product, because the more that people use the product, the more likely they will be to continue to use it and build that habit in the future. Okay, let's have a look at these scripts. Well, I like the first one because the first one is about when you share stuff, it makes things double the fun, basically. So let's create a video off of this. Okay, so here we go. We've got a little stepper at the top. Your first steps on Revid. This second one has appeared. Create your first video for plus 10 free credits. It would be good. I would say that going back to the first screen, like when I first got into the product, one thing that I would recommend doing here for Revid, that I would suggest to Revid, is that don't land the users on the home screen, land them on like an onboarding screen, and have that first full page as like all of your first steps, and show the plus 10 free credits for every single step on it, and show the first step as create your account and mark that one as already being created. So you have a whole page, you have like 3 or 4 steps. The first step is ticked, it says create your account. Because that first step is completed, it means users are more likely to complete follow-up steps. And then I can also see that there's 3 other steps and they're all going to give me free credits. And that's going to kind of give me a bit more momentum to go through and create this stuff, rather than landing me on home where I'm overwhelmed by all of this information when I go in. That would be my recommendation. So let's do short form video generator, YouTube long to shorts. So it's good that you can create like short form stuff from long form video. That's something that I might try myself for some of the videos on this channel. Music to video, that could be interesting for music creators. So I think there's all these use cases here, and I wonder if all of these different video creation types could actually be split up into different tools within the app, and then have those tools targeted at different user types on the front end of like the website, on the marketing website. So, and then create SEO content. To be fair, they might have already done this. I don't know. I haven't looked. Create SEO content around those use cases and those specific features. So have a page that's like, create music videos from your music with AI in minutes, and it's for musicians, and then musicians will lead into the product and they'll use that feature specifically, and that will be separated from this kind of video generation flow. I would recommend like splitting it up like that, because then you're not trying to do like this one size fits all approach to content creation. What you're doing is you're breaking it up by the use case and allowing people to just do exactly what they want to do for their specific use case and get value out of it as quickly as possible. Let's have a look at more tools. So there's loads of tools here. So again, if you break this up into like different tools, you don't have to have this crazy mess after you've generated your script with all these different options. Because, and also like, I've generated a script here, so going from like music to video, does that still use my script? That is a little bit confusing. Get API code. I also don't know why that's there, but it seems like a weird place to get that API code. Maybe you should have that. And maybe it's in, no, hooks is to do with content. Maybe it's in settings or something as well, but do we really need the API code button there? Okay, we generated a script, short video generator. What I want to do here is to try and create my cartoon character that I can use on multiple videos. So, use only provided media. You know what? I'm going to go away. I'm going to generate a character with Midjourney. I'm going to pop it in here. Okay, so I've gone to Midjourney. I've created a cartoon character that I want to create for this kind of child educational content video that I'm making, just of this little character, and I've added that here into my medias. And what I want to see is how it uses this image as a character for the video. Is it going to animate it? Is it just going to use that static image? Is it going to generate new content off the back of that? And I think that's one of the confusions here a little bit as I'm going through the content creator, and something that's useful to apply when designing and building AI products is we really want to guide the user like very clearly through the steps so that they can understand like, how is this, okay, you can import your media, but how is that going to be used in the creation of the video? Even if it's just a little question mark with more information, but ideally you want to like be very clear about how this is going to be used. Okay, it's going to be used in the video, but how are we using it? And are there options that you can add here as well? Like, could I select an option to say, use this as a consistent character, or like use this as a recommendation for the content instead of use the exact image? So let's see what happens. I'm going to choose a voice quickly. Okay, let's choose this pretty cheesy American female voice. Select audio or generate music. Let's generate some music for this. Say like a calm and playful melody, background melody that would appeal to children. Cool. We're going to generate some music there as well. Advanced options. Choose your screen ratio. We're going to do vertical video. How many medias to generate? I don't know what that means. Not sure. We'll use a reasonable amount of credits. I don't like, also can we, let's be clear about how many credits this is going to use. Medium. Also, what does medium and more actually mean? Like, is medium 2 medias, or is medium 500 medias? I'm not sure. And how many credits is a 1 media? This language is a little bit unclear. I'm not sure. Pick animation type. Dynamic. Let's do dynamic. Generate sound effects. Sure, why not? Add captions to your video. I'm going to do this one. I think that will work best for the type of content that we're doing. Alignment. Let's have it at the bottom because we want to have the video, the character in the middle. Voice stability, expressive, voice speed 1 times. And let's generate a cover for this as well. Why not? It might be interesting to see what this generates. Let's do it. Estimated cost. There we go. We've got the estimated cost down the bottom there. That should be bigger probably. I don't know if you need to, you probably don't need to know it until the end. Or maybe it could be like on the right hand side, a bit like a checkout as you're going down, like as you're adding these different features, it's like your estimated credit cost. You can kind of see that, so you're like adding all the things from this shopping list for your video. Okay, let's generate the video. Okay, so whilst this is generating, this is giving me something to do. This is good. I know it's feedback for Revid because they just want to know where did I come from and what is my goal. It's basically user research exercise here a little bit for them to get data from a growth point of view. But I do think a good principle for AI products is that while stuff is generating, give your users something to do to keep them on the product, even if that means, and that can look like generating multiple things and allowing the user to edit like the first thing that's created, or it can look like guiding users to different parts of the product to add more value to their account or to their whatever they're creating, whilst they wait for the video to be generated, and then notify them when the thing is finished, like generating as well. So let's just say like let's just select one of these. I'm going to put Google make videos. Really good feedback there, Chris. That's going to be super useful for them. Okay, let's wait for this to generate. Just while we're waiting for this to generate, one thing that I would recommend here is to tell users roughly how long this is going to take, just so that if it is going to take 30 minutes to generate, I can go off and do something else. But if it's going to take 60 seconds, I can just wait here for it to generate. Already we're at 140-ish seconds, and it's unclear as to how long this is going to take. It's also, I imagine I can click on something else and it's not going to disappear as well, but maybe just add in some like positive confirmation here to say, if you go and do something else, you're not going to lose this video. Yeah. Okay, so it's generated and it has done this in about, it was like 200 seconds, divided by 60. My maths isn't very good. I don't know, that's like 3 and a bit minutes. So yeah. Let's have a look. What is the video? Let's have a look.
Sharing your favorite toy makes you a superhero in disguise. When you keep things all to yourself, you miss out on amazing friendships and double the fun. Think about it. When you share your blocks, suddenly you can build a castle twice as big. When you share your crayons, your drawing becomes a masterpiece made by 2 artists. Being kind to friends isn't just nice. It's like having a magic power that makes everyone's day better, including yours. Sharing your favorite toy makes...
Okay, so it's basically just used the image that I put in. It's not like created that as a character. What I wanted to do was a bit more like the landing page. I wanted to kind of create that, like the video that it has here. Look, this is kind of animated, this character in like, and it's like the same character but older, which is, so maybe that's misleading as like it can't actually generate this like animation. Maybe that is an asset that someone's added in. What it's done here is just to create like pretty straightforward, just like add in stock videos of people and kids, and then like generate a thumbnail at the beginning with this image. How can I edit it? Media, you've got your media in here. You can add stickers. So one thing that would be really useful to do is to be able to revise. Can I revise this? If this is generated and this isn't what I wanted, how do I revise? How do I revise this? It doesn't look like you can really like revise what's going on here. You can delete the different video sections. Can I replace, duplicate? Yeah, one thing that I would really like to be able to do is to create some revisions on this, or replace different footage if this isn't quite right, which is not quite right. Because I feel like this has generated something which is not what I expected, and it's also then used my credits for that as well. So one thing to bear in mind when you're building and designing AI products is that we want to, because the output is can vary quite massively, what we want to do is we want to try and bridge this gap between what the user's expectation is, which you're setting when you on your website, or in any content that the user sees around the product. That expectation needs to then match up to like what actually happens when I use the product and create something. So my expectation there was different to what I got out at the end of it, and that makes me feel disappointed because I didn't get what I want. And so we need to meet those two things together. Obviously, from a marketing point of view, it needs to look like pretty exciting and interesting. But then if you just like capture attention that way and lead people into a product where the output doesn't meet their expectation, they're just going to be disappointed, and then they're not going to pay for the product at the end of the day. So you need to be realistic in the expectation that you're setting, and then deliver on that expectation. Let's try some different things. Let's have a look at some different things here. So one thing I want to get into is AI characters, because that is kind of what I wanted to create. And so I created my first video. I thought I could do it. I just went through the onboarding steps. It didn't do what I wanted. I'm going to go into AI. That's where it would be useful for a user coming into the product to kind of give them options of like, what do you want to do? Or like, if you're coming for a specific use case, to like create these different pages or these different entry points for users from the website to go into specific features of the product, rather than trying to like figure it all out themselves. Okay, so we've got our first step still here. Publish your video. I'm not going to do that. Search for a video to repurpose. I'm not sure what that means. Repurpose an existing video. I don't know what that means. I think that means like you use something from their library and you repurpose it for your own content, basically. So like if I go to home, you can see like, get some inspirations for your next TikTok video. If I click on this one, I can repurpose the script. So you've got the word here of like repurpose, which may be confusing for people. You could just have my checklist is there. It is. You could just have in the checklist like use a video as inspiration. That might be a better wording for that, that's clearer. I want to try auto mode, and I want to try AI characters. Number one, because I don't know what auto mode is. I have an idea. And number two, because AI characters, I really want to create that like cartoon character for this kind of children social content. So yeah, let's try and create a character, and I'm going to use this media that I uploaded already. Generate video avatar, generate character, create multiple consistent images of this character in different poses, and settings for video scenes, create an animated talking head from this image. I'm going to do the video avatar, and just because it's recommended as well, so just see what that does. Let's try and generate this character. And maybe like if I generate that avatar, then that's going to allow me to create a video with that kind of with this character kind of talking, which is going to be more engaging for kids, because you want to feel like the person, they can relate to the person in the video. All right, we've generated the avatar. Here we go. Let's have a look. That's kind of cool, but a little bit freaky. Is it going to talk? It doesn't have a voice. And then this one, which is... This is more dynamic. I like this first one better because she's kind of talking to the camera and she's kind of going backwards and forwards in the scene and she's dancing a little bit. That's a lot more dynamic than this one, who just kind of feels like... And her eyes kind of like... It looks like somebody is like controlling her legs and she has no decision in the matter. So we're going to use this one. We're going to use that one. Let's do use... Okay, so now we're doing it into our own video. So let's do the script generator, and let's do educational, and let's do the same thing that we did before. A video, a story about sharing that teaches kids that sharing is a good thing to do and makes you feel good. There we go. And let's do 30 seconds. So I'm going to do this last one. I think that sounds good. It's about it being a superpower. That sounds great. So let's use that. We're going to use avatar source. We've already got the avatar that we're using. I don't think I have to. Oh, I do. I'm going to have to... Yeah, let's select this one. That's the one that we just generated. It would be good if it pre-selected that when I went through from the previous screen. And then add B-roll. I'm going to turn that off because I don't want to add any B-roll. I just want it to be fully the character talking to the screen. One thing that you could do here is like you could combine this with other image generation tools to like, if I'm actually gonna like, I would maybe like take this character that I've created and generate that same character using Midjourney or another tool in different scenes, and then use that for different video content. So that could work really, really well here. I'm going to use...
Government of the...
Let's see if we can get a better voice. I'm going to stick with Jessica.
If you spend your whole life...
Let's stick with Jessica. And let's generate some music again. Let's do it. Cost 50 credits. Let's go. Okay, so I just upgraded my account so that I can pay to generate that video, and it has just taken away everything that I already created. So one thing that's quite nice to do when you're building and designing a product is, if payment is part of the process of creating something, is to make sure that after I've paid, I come back to the same point that I was in the product before. Otherwise now I just feel like I have to redo everything that I already did. So let's set it all up again quickly. Okay, we have our video created. That took about 650 seconds. I don't know how much time that is in minutes, but it felt like a long time. Again, I think giving users the idea of how long it's going to take, some sort of idea of how long it's going to take, would be super useful. I can see it's created a thumbnail on this for me. Let's have a look, see if it's the character animated and talking in the video like we wanted it to be, the same consistent character. Let's give it a watch.
Secret superpower. Sharing makes your brain release happy chemicals called endorphins. When you give your friend half your cookie, your body actually rewards you with feel-good emotions. Scientists discovered that kids who share regularly have more friends and feel more confident. It's like having a magic wand. The more you share, the happier everyone becomes, including you. Next time you share, notice how your heart feels warm and fuzzy inside.
Okay, this is not too bad. This is not like the quality. I think the quality is not there in the video generation particularly yet. You can see in like some of these in some of these screens, I mean, obviously this is super difficult to do from an AI point of view, but you can see in some of these screens where the mouth kind of gets blurred and it kind of like misses things. But to be honest, like if you can do this now, in a few months you'll be able to do this at a much higher fidelity. And appreciate they've just introduced the AI character feature here, so this is something that's completely new.
The more you share, the happier.
But this is pretty good. You can see how you could like create a character and then use that as, you could create a character that's related to either your business or something that you do, and then you could kind of create the content around that. I can already imagine how this could become like a child's like teaching Instagram or TikTok account. Obviously you don't want to give kids like phones that young, but it could be, there's like something in here that you could do for sure. And it has the music and it has the voiceover and it has lip synced to the animated character that you've created. Obviously I had to generate the actual character itself on Midjourney, so might be something that's quite good to like add in here, being able to generate that. Maybe you actually can already and it's just something that I missed. The other thing that I wanted to look at quickly was auto mode. So create workers to automate your video creation process. Each worker will generate one video for you every day. So this is basically saying like, okay, I'm going to create a worker and it's going to create videos for me, and then I'm just going to be able to access and post those videos like on a daily basis, so I don't have to come back in here and keep creating stuff. One thing that will be input the source of your content must be changing every day. Input a Twitter account. Okay, so this is good. So this is hooking it up to a social account. So if you're posting on a social account, it's going to pull from that content and then generate the video content for you to then repost, which is great. I might actually try this coming from like LinkedIn or YouTube shorts potentially, because sometimes I'm posting there on a daily basis. I'm pretty inconsistent with it, so it would be interesting to see how it handles like if nothing gets posted. Also, do I have to put the URL? Oh, there we go. You have to put in like the URL of your Twitter or LinkedIn account there. Tell the AI what to do with the content. Focus on personal branding tips. So this is like, you're basically creating an AI video agent for short form video creation. Amazing. That is pretty useful. You can pick the style. You can do like the AI talking avatars, so we can do this one like every day and it will create content for that. So I would put in here like, say I made a social account for like teaching kids like tips, about life, and then I would link to that social account and I would say focus on helping kids understand good behavior and all that sort of stuff, and then apply the voice and all of that stuff, and then create the worker for it. And then I'm assuming I can go in and like edit that worker. I can also add new workers in here as well to do like different types of content. I wonder if like this is every day, so maybe being able to choose the frequency of this would be useful. So like maybe I just want to do 2 a week instead of every single day. And I wonder if you can like schedule from this to then automatically post for you, because you could kind of just like leave that running in the background almost. This might be a really, really good way if you have an idea for a business or a startup to test traction with something without having to do a lot of manual work. So I could just like set up these characters, create some workers in here, create the AI content, be posting to a social channel, and then just see what the traction is like, almost without me having to do anything. So that to me feels like very, very powerful. Alright, so that's the end of looking at the products. Let's go through 3 key things that we can apply to our own products, and then I'll answer the question of whether this is good, whether this is bad, and whether it's something you should use or not. Alright, so that was Revid.ai. Hopefully that gives you some insight into the product and what it does, what's good, what's bad, and whether you should use it or not. For me, I think there are some useful parts of it, and there are some really interesting parts of it. One around that kind of generating social content kind of on autopilot. you could say, although I hate that phrase. But you could set up like auto workers in Revid, test ideas out on social, link it to a social account without necessarily having to manually create content for that every day. If you're just trying to test traction for something, to test an idea, that could be a really, really quick way of like testing this, whether something resonates on social and whether it's an idea worth pursuing and growing. The other use case I think is if you're doing more like the educational kind of B-roll style content videos, or you want to kind of like intersperse your own kind of video content with maybe other types of video content that use a specific style, or if you've got an existing media library of video or imagery that you want to use to create video content without necessarily having to go in and manually edit that all of yourself. And you also can get help on the script writing side there as well, so that is something that's super useful. So yeah, there's a lot of usage for this product. It is on the more expensive side, so it's $39 a month, but I think considering what you're getting out of the product, if you use it in the right way, this is something that could be really, really powerful for your business. And to break down the 3 kind of key takeaways for your own products and for designing and building products, I think the first one there is just when the user first gets into the product, really focus solely on that onboarding flow and getting them to create that first asset, especially if it's a more complex product like this where you have to change lots of different settings and you're generating something quite complex and you might have like a very specific use case. Just don't worry about showing the user a lot of the other product stuff. Just focus purely on onboarding. Here are the steps to go through, and have that first step of like creating an account as complete already. The second piece of insight that I would say here is if you're building a product with lots of different types of features for lots of different use cases, try splitting those features up into their own separate journeys, and then try creating kind of funnels and journeys that lead into that feature where you can build up SEO value through like a specific marketing like landing page that targets that use case and that persona more specifically, and even trying on social to kind of like target those different personas and use cases to kind of lead them into those specific features, just to really remove any confusion around how you use the product, what settings and what options you need to choose, and to get a user into creating content that's exactly right for them and for what they want to do. And then I think the third insight that we can take away from Revid is that you really want to match the user's expectation of what they can create to the output that they actually create. And so I definitely had a mismatched expectation there of when I saw the landing page and I saw that video with the cartoon character, I had a really clear idea of what I wanted to create. And then the first time that I created something, it didn't match that expectation. So just really guiding, the thing is that it could actually create that, it could kind of create that in the end, but it didn't make it easy to get to that output. So really just guiding the user to create the thing they want to, and really matching that expectation that you're setting up front with the output that you're able to generate on the back end for the user is something that could be really, really useful to make sure that you do in your product. So that's the review of Revid.ai. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm doing these product teardowns every single week, as well as other content around product and design. If you want to get this sent straight to your inbox, go to buildgreatproducts.com and you can sign up to the newsletter there. Otherwise, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.